Hi everyone. Today we're starting decimals. Actually, we're not starting decimals. We've been doing them a little bit, but today's my first math lesson. I don't know, I'm in the basement again and Emma had to help me, so I'm not sure how this is gonna go. Anyway, so this is our place value chart. I wanted to make the place value chart to show you where our new columns are. Big, exciting day to learn 2 new columns on the place value chart. So typically you're used to seeing these ones, tens, hundreds. But I have a big decimal point right here, and this is our place value chart, and the decimal point is where we would normally go up to. The first new column is called tenths. So it's like the tens column, but has a TH, tenths. It sounds like a little lisp at the end. And then our next column after that is hundredths. Again, like hundreds, but it has a TH, hundredths. Now, whenever we talk about decimals, I like to talk about using it to compare to money, because everyone knows money, and you've done money already, so you've really done decimals before. So this is our chart, and how we would read this would be 323, and then we have our decimal point. Now remember, at the beginning of the year, I would always tell you whenever people would say 121, and I'd say that "and" is not correct. So here, "and" is actually going to be what we use to make it known that there's a decimal point. So this would be 323 and 18 hundredths. Okay, so we'll say that again. 323 and 18 hundredths. So there's our place value chart. Think of money. So if this was dollars and cents, it'd be $323.18. Now, decimals means part of a whole. So if you have 18 cents, you don't have a whole dollar, right? You only have part of a dollar. You have 18 parts of the dollar. And on our next board, I'm glad I brought 2 boards home. Our next board, I'm going to show you some examples. So again, think of money, $323.18, or 18 hundredths. And this 18 is part of a whole number. It's not a whole number, but it's part of it. Just like fractions are part of a whole number. I gotta replace my pen here, so I'll be right back. Okay, so we're gonna go to our next board, and we have some examples of connecting fractions with decimals. So I drew our pictures already, and in this example, now we have to we're gonna do our fraction first, because that's something that we're more familiar with. So remember, if we want to figure out what our fraction is, we need to find how many parts there are all together. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 parts all together. So that goes at the bottom, our denominator. Now our top number is how many parts are shaded. So let's count. 1, 2, 3. So this would be 3 parts shaded. 3/10. Now, does that sound kind of familiar to you with our tenths column? Well, it should, because that's exactly what it means. 3/10 is the same as, we're going to put our decimal point, and we're going to put our 3 right next to it, which is in our, I don't like that. Okay. We're going to put our 3 right next to it in our tenths column. 3/10. So 3/10 equals the same as 3/10. All right, let's try another one. So over here, we're going to count to see how many spaces we have in the bottom all together. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 10 for our denominator. There are 10 spaces all together. Now let's count how many are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts. Some things just don't change, right? The markers are always never working. So we have 5 parts shaded, 10 parts altogether. So it's 5/10. So if we wanted to show this in a decimal, we put our decimal point, and our next column from the decimal point is the tenths column. So what number do you think we're going to put there? If it's 5/10, we have our decimal point, and we're going to put a 5. Now, are you noticing that tenths, the tenths column, I hope you can see this, the tenths column, how many parts have we noticed so far? There's 10 altogether, there's 10 altogether. There's always going to be 10 parts in our tenths column. Always. That's like the rule. There's always 10 parts in the tenths column. Now here, we're going back to our place value chart, right? And we had the tenths column, so we know there are 10 parts there. So how many parts do you think are in the hundredths column? Hundredths? Let's see, how many parts? Now, I drew this hundreds block. It's like the place value blocks that we have at school. And I drew 10 columns. So we'll count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 going this way, and let's count down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 times 10 is 100. So there are 100 little squares on this, and they're in rows of 10. So we don't have to count each individual square. We just know that this whole strip is 10. So that's 10, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we know there are 100 squares altogether, and there are 24 shaded. So when we say this out loud, we say 24 hundredths. 24 hundredths, which equals decimal point 24. So when you say this out loud, you would say 24 hundredths. Get it? The hundreds column is broken into 100 boxes. And we'll try this one. So we know this is 10. Well, altogether we have 100 underneath. We know that, right? So 100 squares all together. And then we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We have 17 shaded. So 17 hundredths, which would equal decimal point 17. So when we say it, we say 17 hundredths, because the hundredths, there are 100 squares to make up the 100 here. And then guess what? If we go all the way up to 99 and we got 100, that would actually, let's put this back in. Let me get my eraser. Let's say I had 99 cents here. 99 hundredths. If I'm going to add one more, the 99 turns into 1 whole 1. So it'd be 1 decimal point 0, 0. So 99 hundredths, you add one more hundredth, we get 1 whole. So there are 100 hundredths. There are 10 tenths. 10 tenths equals 1 whole, right? 10 over 10 equals 1. We know that, right? We really practice this. And then we have, I hope you can see this, 100 over 100 equals 1 whole. So if we had 99 hundredths, this is what it would look like. But since we have 100, it equals 1. And this is lesson, it's the first lesson. Oh gosh, now I can't remember if it's 12 or 13, but it's on the assignment. I hope you liked the math lesson. Hopefully I can get this down pat a little bit better. Alrighty, decimals, place value chart, introducing decimals, the hundredths and the tenths, and then connecting fractions with decimals. Bye.